Hey everyone! Welcome to The Young and the Restless. I'm Jane, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Young and the Restless, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. According to previews for The Young and the Restless, there may be a chance for a mother-daughter love triangle. Should Victoria Newman, Nate Hastings, and Claire Newman accompany YNR there? Nate supported Claire and Victoria following the death of Cole Howard. As Nate tried his best to console each woman, fans watched. Naturally, Nate eventually won Victoria's and Claire's pity for Damian Kane's terrible destiny as well. Since all three of these characters are now going through difficult times, grief serves as a common bond between them. Given their past romance, it would seem inevitable to bring Victoria and Nate back together eventually. Victoria might fall in love with Nate once more in the upcoming months, but she will need time to grieve the loss of Cole. However, if Claire and Nate become closer, things can become more problematic. Kyle Abbott may be preparing for a romantic explosion now that he is concealing the details of his encounter with Audra Charles and Nice. Nate and Claire should both end up unmarried because their own romance appears to be about to blow up. The pain of betrayal is something that could unite Claire and Nate because they will both experience it. YNR is the ideal mother-daughter love triangle scenario since Nate will have solid reasons to deepen his relationship with both Claire and Victoria. It would be an excellent opportunity to test Victoria and Claire's friendship and cause friction between them. In summary, fans are already witnessing Nate and Victoria and Nate and Claire become closer. If there is a love triangle later on, the show might provide some spicy romantic drama. According to teasers for The Young and the Restless, Claire and Kyle may be getting divorced. Keep checking back for any further developments on the breakup and the mayhem it may cause. Victoria informs her daughter in the TAC house that Victor has texted and requests that they all gather in the main house. First, Claire would like to meet with Kyle. Claire doesn't see the difference a few hours could make, but her mother believes she should see the family first. Victor believes that they need each other the most during these kinds of situations, thus Victoria is certain that he would be upset about this. Claire believes he will realize she needs to see Kyle if he values family. She isn't going to change her mind, regardless of what Victoria says. Has Victor completed his vendetta? Returning to the Abbott manse brings relief to Diane, Jack, and Kyle. Diane and Kyle are eagerly anticipating Harrison's arrival. His tiny footsteps might not be as silent as she recalls, he reminds her. Although Diane is upset that her eagerly anticipated honeymoon was ruined, Jack assures her that it may be rescheduled. Diane is still unable to understand the purpose of this whole situation. Kane never really showed his hand, as her spouse notes. Therefore, none of them ought to become overly at ease. Kyle wishes they could avoid discussing Kane and the journey from hell for a day. They consider how heartbroken the relatives of Amy and Chance must be. Diane proposes that they have breakfast at Society. For Kyle to meet Claire, he must bow out. He regrets not being there for her. Following Kyle's departure, Diane confides in Jack that she doesn't think Claire will be pleased to learn about what transpired between Kyle and Audra, let alone Victor's involvement. The reunion will undoubtedly suffer as a result. Jack claims that their son was correct to reveal Audra and Victor's nefarious scheme, but his wife is concerned that Kyle went too far and that Claire won't approve. Jack says he's sure Claire will understand what Kyle did when she compares this to what he did to save Nikki. Diane hopes so, but jealousy is sneaky, and it's a lot to expect to ignore Kyle's closeness to a past lover. They can only hope that Victor will be sidetracked by Kane's enigmatic plan. However, they are aware that Victor is not a person who lets things go. The Newmans get back together. Arriving at the new property, Nick, his dad, and Sharon are relieved to be out of the maze. Nick observes Sharon has remained silent, but he feels nearly completely well. She acknowledges that she can't stop thinking about Chance since he was unique, patient, and nice to her. Nick claims that the news of his passing devastated Summer and Abby. Victor expresses gratitude to the two for accompanying them from the airport. The rest of the family has already received his SMS inviting them over. It surprises Nikki that he believes Kane's threat is so real. It is, Nick agrees. Victor goes on to say that helping Claire and Victoria is even more crucial at this time. Their family must be their top priority. Nick can't wait to visit his sister. When she needed them, they weren't there. Victoria shows there and gives her parents a hug. She expresses her happiness upon seeing them. Never in her life has she felt so empty and heartbroken. Losing both of them would have been too much. Cole was a nice man and a decent father, Victor acknowledges. He regrets not having the opportunity to inform him of it. Cole would undoubtedly be happy to hear that, no matter where he is, according to his daughter. Victor changed his mind about him after realizing how much he loved Victoria and Claire, and Nikki is certain Cole sensed it. Nick wishes he had been there to assist and asks his sister for a hug. She tells him he must be by her side going forward and acknowledges that she could have used his shoulder. He is no longer battling guards in European nations. Audra and Nate catch up. When Nate enters society from the outside, he sees Audra sitting by herself. She hurries over and gives him a hug as soon as he walks in. Despite being overburdened, he wanted to meet her at the airport. She only desired to be held by him. She assures Damien that she is there for him and Amy, but she still finds it hard to comprehend what happened to him. It was a big mistake to go to Nice, she admits. Nate wishes he had gone. He regrets not being present for his brother's final moments. He finds it hard to believe Damien left them at a time when they were beginning to develop a genuine relationship. Audra begs Nate not to torment himself, but wishes they had all stayed at home. Nate says that Amy is shut down, and they talk about how poorly she is managing the loss of her kid. The most difficult thing he has ever had to do was break the news. She initially exhibited denial, then anger, and now she withdraws. Her goal was to get back in touch with her son. She no longer has a purpose. She will be looked after by Nate, who must assist her in moving the remains. How may I be of assistance? Audra asks. Holding her is sufficient, according to Nate. Since Amy was unable to handle them, he has already made all the preparations for his brother. According to Nate, he had his brother's office ready at Winters and even organized the ideal project for him to lead. In order for them to choose tickets together, he postponed purchasing them Bears season tickets. Getting to know his brother was something Nate was eager to do. He's gone now. Nate and Audra are the first people Jack and Diane see when they enter society. They can't seem to get away from that woman, she laments. Jack believes they ought to at least offer Nate their sympathy. She questions whether he is aware of his alleged girlfriend's activities. She consents to keep quiet after Jack informs her that he is in sorrow. They approach the table and express their regret to Nate for his brother's passing. According to Audra, the entire excursion was startling and strange. Diane nods and adds there were a lot of unsettling revelations. Audra gives her a scowl. Diane and Jack are given a table. They are glad to be home and in the real world, even though the food may not be as delicious as it is in France. They discuss returning to work, and he knows Diane is upset that their ideal honeymoon didn't work out. She has, however, created a blueprint for them, so nothing will go in their way whenever the time is right. Diane believes that as long as the Audra and Kyle drama is still going on, they should remain close. Jack hopes that Kane will divert Victor's attention from their son. He would even work with Kane if he believed it would benefit Claire and Kyle. It would be perfect if it knocked Victor down a few spots. Diane is surprised to learn that. Perhaps their excursion may result in something good. Will Kyle be honest with Claire? Claire throws her arms around Kyle as they meet in Chancellor's Park. They discuss how annoying it was to be unable to hear one another. If he had understood what was going on with her father, he would have boarded the next plane home. Claire recognizes that he was confined. "I want to hear all about it," she says. Kyle isn't certain that she does. He cautions that now is not the right moment to bring it up and would like to talk about how he can support her. "I wish I could do it forever," Kyle replies, holding Claire once again. Her thoughts about everything that has transpired are still rushing. Kyle said he will talk about his trip in more detail later. Claire acknowledges that her only want at the moment is to see him. She also wanted to be ready in case she needed to know anything about his current relationship with her grandfather. "That's the least of their worries," Kyle replies, shaking his head. Kyle responds that none of that matters at this time when she inquires about the proposal he made to Victor. Claire feels that something is not quite right. Has the situation gotten worse? According to him, Victor was mostly preoccupied with Kane, thus they hardly ever met. Nate and Audra arrive. They all four give clumsy welcomes and condolences. Everyone is happy that they had someone to rely on. Kyle questions Audra about Vibrante's failures before she leads Nate away. "What does that mean?" Nate wonders. Audra assures him that the crisis has been avoided and that he need not worry. She says they are okay and that now is not the time to press when Kyle questions her about her investor having second thoughts. Nate asks Audra what that was about after Kyle and Claire leave. She gripes that Kyle often makes fun of her, despite the fact that his father gave him a successful cosmetics company. The abbot says it's ego, but Nate doesn't understand why she bothers. She responds that Victor hasn't mentioned it and that she doesn't want to disturb him while his family is in grief when Nate inquires as to if he is thinking of canceling his financing. She maintains that Kyle is simply acting like a brat. After everything that has transpired, Nate finds that strange. She gives him a kiss and smiles, telling him to forget about Kyle. Nate appears anxious. Claire seeks support from her family. Victor asks Victoria how Claire is handling things back at the new ranch. She notes that although she promised to visit, her daughter is currently juggling a lot of emotions. Victor is eager to see her and assumes she visited the Abbotts before her own family. Victoria promises that her daughter will arrive shortly. Her father refuses to explain Claire's absence when she requests additional information about Nice. Nick believes it's understandable that she wants her lover to comfort her. Nikki begs her husband to keep this from getting out of hand. He complains that Claire has made her priorities apparent. Victoria warns her father that her life has completely fallen apart and that he should stop pursuing her daughter. He claims that his only concern is for Claire. Nick and Nikki tell him to forget about this. Victor continues to worry about her faith in Kyle. As they bid goodbye to Cole, Victoria begs him to stop the hostility. When Claire gets there, she jumps right into Victor's arms. After giving Nikki a hug, Nick assures her that they are all available to help if she needs it. According to Victoria, her daughter insisted on waiting until everyone returned for the memorial. Victor gives his daughter another embrace and assures her that they will get through this. Telling Nick that she feels compelled to leave him with his family, Sharon makes her way to the door. He maintains that she is still a member of the family and that they all want her there. According to Sharon, they had a lot to talk about regarding the trip's events. She wonders, will we ever discuss that kiss again? Nick suggests that they either discuss it or wait to see if it occurs again. When they get back to the others, they discuss with Claire how difficult it is to say goodbye. As a family, they can overcome anything, Nikki assures her. Victor assures everyone that although they are dealing with some challenging issues, they will succeed if they work together. Each of them gives him a nod. Jack tells Kyle that Audra will seek retribution. Kyle stops by Society to have breakfast with his parents. He shares with them how difficult it has been for Claire to lose Cole. It doesn't look like Victor has ended his business relationship with Audra yet, he said, adding that he didn't think it was the right moment to tell her about Victor's plot with Audra given her current state. He questions whether the mustache is at last realizing that he and Claire are in a relationship. Victor is like a dog with a bone, therefore his parents don't believe that. Kyle acknowledges that he wanted to tell Nate what happened when he ran into him with Audra, but he was unable to do so because of Nate's previous upset. Audra is acting like nothing happened and is full of bluster. Jack is certain that she will seek retribution.